You know who made it.
Welcome to 3.8. Be sure to watch the video version of this episode on YouTube and do us a favor and subscribe while you're there. Your app isn't focused.
My app is.
Yeah, the recording.
My app is not focused. Yeah, why does it say that?
The recording narcs on you now.
Yeah, I can see you right. Oh, it's gone.
Now it's focused. Now I have your full attention.
I was looking right at you. What happened?
How you going?
Good. Apparently, I'm not focused enough.
I love that. It's a double entendre.
Yeah.
I'm good. I've been on the YouTuber journey a little bit in that I've been trying to put some more effort into building YouTube. Not that I want to really be a creator or like do this professionally, but the thing I found is that putting yourself out there is not enough in 2025. Like you have to put some intention behind growing a brand. Yeah, you might get lucky, but from what I've been seeing and experiencing, it actually takes work. So I've been doing a little bit of that and been pondering what creativity versus kind of manufacturing is, and does trying to grow the brand or viewership, listenership actually impact the product of the podcast or not?
We've talked a little bit as you've been exploring this journey, and it's interesting because this process to me also looks a little bit like science, the way that you're sort of. And this happens in product testing as well, right? Like you do A/B tests, you kind of put something out there, see how well it performs, and then put another variation and see how that performs. It's also like, okay, let me put this video up, make it a little bit shorter, or make it a little bit longer, right? So it's been interesting to see that part of.
Well, that's a good point. You have to have something interesting or, for the platform. So YouTube is video, podcasting is mostly audio, people are listening to topics. How you identify what that audience is anybody's best guess. There's all sorts of ways to do it. There's typically genre, right? Tech or business or entertainment, and then topics and current events. The traditional way people break into this is they're already famous or already have an audience.
The way they break in is they're already famous.
Oh man, there's so many people who are just getting into podcasting who have like millions of fans.
That's
somewhere.
a very good. Yeah, it's a great point. Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And good on them. Like, I'm not trying to diminish it, but what I see a lot of from people is all the advice is from people who've already made it and already kind of done the thing. And then it's like very, very different to give advice for how to do something successfully versus how do you get started doing it or how do you grow your presence.
Yeah.
And so I've been thinking a lot about this. And again, the established way is to get in some kind of a niche, do a bunch of content for that, get an audience, get discovered, then grow from there is kind of the traditional advice. Like I've said before, like I don't give a shit about that. I just we have our weekly chats, decided to record them. I think that's a great format. People also agree, apparently, that people are watching and people are listening. And then the interviews are a little different, but those are all over the place on niches. It doesn't really grow the algorithm. You don't get the algorithm boost from them because if I do a science episode and it's really popular and then I go talk to someone who's doing art or some tech conversation, a lot of people might actually have interests in both, but the way the algorithm feeds them information, they're going to see it much less predominantly than if they were in that niche already.
Yeah.
And so, to your point, it's a little scientific. I guess maybe I'm approaching it scientifically because I don't know the answer.
Right.
If I knew how to grow
I don't think nobody knows the answer.
Well, the answer is to find someone.
Be famous. The answer is be famous.
Yeah, the answer is definitely be famous or find someone at YouTube and bribe them because they could push whatever they could push this, recording to everybody in the world nonstop and people would subscribe. Right.
Yeah, YouTube did this, didn't they?
Yeah.
They partnered with Apple Music or something like that, and then all of a sudden everyone.
Oh yeah, they partnered back in the day when iTunes was still kind of newer.
iTunes, that's what it was. Yeah.
Everybody got the YouTube album for free or something.
Yeah.
And a lot of people were pissed because it just showed up in their library.
Right.
not the right way to do it. Like if you want to give away your album, cool, like have somebody like opt in, right? It's pretty straightforward. But again, then you don't get, I think they did that as a play to get downloads to spike so that they could get some sort of record sales. Well, I mean, this is kind of the dark side of all this stuff, but it's like, everybody who has a New York Times best-selling book, for example, most of those people are buying their own book. Right. And so the best way and the surefire way to get on the seller list is to sell a lot of copies. The best way to do that is to buy them yourself or have people buy them on your behalf to then resell them later.
Yeah, this is very much the same like with reviews, right? People buy, quote unquote, buy reviews.
Yeah,
exactly. Or get family just to give you,
buy followers, that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
Sure, it works. Yeah. And it'll probably drive you up a little bit, but like long term, it's a little questionable. And you're not supposed to do that, but everyone does it. It's I guess it's an open secret, or maybe it's not a secret. Yeah, so I've been, trying to see kind of experiment of like, can we grow the channel? And we've grown it in the last 2 weeks of trying, I guess. Like we had a couple subscribers before I started trying to experiment. I think we had like 300% growth in the first week or something, which for people who are like, wow, that's a lot.
It's like one or two times 300.
300, is like 4 subscribers or 5 subscribers or something like that. But then week 2, it basically doubled. And again, it sounds impressive. So we went from, it was like 10 subscribers to like 20 something. And that's awesome. I appreciate people subscribing. It kind of validates that we're talking about at least something interesting, or people have hope that we'll say something interesting in the future.
Tell us what you want to hear and we'll talk about it.
Let's plug it. What is it? Podcast@38.com, I think we decided was real.
Is it?
Or leave a comment.
We'll find out. Yeah.
I think like it's been an interesting journey so far, and it's seen some success. Like our views, over 5-digit views now within the last 2 weeks, and it's now surpassed audio listens and views. Listening is still growing though. It's just what I found is that Spotify and Apple Podcasts, which are the 2 biggest podcast platforms, just don't do discovery, as far as I can tell.
Yeah.
The podcast has actually grown mostly from web searching.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So like most of the subscriber base seems to enter through the website and then goes to the platform or listens online, even on the website.
That's cool.
And then it's slowly grown, over time on both Apple and Spotify. And then YouTube didn't really grow at all because it was just audio. And then we started doing video, which makes sense, right? And then people started watching it, and then that's grown there. So it's I think we were talking a little earlier. It used to take, I don't know, like a half a day or a day
hours,
for me or to record. I do some editing, futz with it to get it up online. Now that's the audio piece is down to, it's like a half hour, 45 minutes after we record. And then the YouTube stuff, quick edit for the video isn't usually too bad. But if I break it up into clips or shorts, that takes a little bit more editing. I don't know, maybe call it an hour a short. I don't usually time myself, but I usually just kind of go through, make 3 or 4 of them and then call it a day. And I could contract that out or something, but like part of it, the creative process is until there's like a brand or a vibe, I guess, like it's hard to get an editor who can work with you unless they know you really well. I don't want to call in favors from friends. I don't feel good about asking people to work for free.
Yeah.
Once that brand gets established, then it's a little easier to like contract out. It's kind of that startup problem of when do you start hiring out expertise? It's like, if you, assuming you have the money, it's like, do you want to spend the time on it or not?
How do you value? Yeah. Financially. Right. I have a question for you. Sort of describing the process of going from several hours a day to now setting up this pipeline so that it's only a few hours a day. To me, that kind of sounds like this manufacturing pipeline, or this sort of going back to the original thing you brought to the top. Do you feel like you've been manufacturing your content, or has there still been this creative element that you sort of wanted to keep as you were exploring this podcast?
Yeah, I've done some short experimenting where I'm like, this is awesome, right? I know this is good content. This is going to do super well.
Yes. We
And
talked
then it
about this a little
doesn't.
bit. Yeah. Yeah.
And people are like, oh, you don't know what you're talking about. And I'm like, no, I like show it to friends. And they're like, this is awesome. And like, yeah, they're my friends, right? But it's like, my friends will tell me if something sucks.
Yeah.
And they don't. And so I know that there's like a discovery problem. And then I'll do something that, like, again, shorts is kind of a medium on itself too. So there's like an audience. You're not going to get anything really complicated out. You're not going to, I feel like it's kind of like a quick laugh or like a quick little anecdote or almost more like an ad for the channel. The ad for the channel doesn't usually work too well. Like usually people will kind of discover, but I feel like a lot of people just are scrolling. So for views, I guess it works. But when it comes to like a conversion rate, I guess you could say it's not the best from what I've seen. I still do whatever I want. And I think there's a difference of like informing that with data to say like, oh, this format works. And so I guess, I don't know, secrets of YouTube. The content does way better with subtitles on the screen, right? Like you can click the button, but like I did a couple without it and it went nowhere. And I literally just added subtitles. Like I think I re-uploaded one and it tripled.
Are you embedding the subtitles?
Okay. Yeah, I'm just embedding them in the video. The other big thing I've noticed is obviously short, but having some kind of music or background noise makes tremendous difference for some reason. I did a little bit of investigation on this, and I didn't scientifically do it. It's kind of anecdotally, but I would say like 80% of content had some sort of music track or low level noise in the background. So fascinating, I guess. I don't know why that trend became a thing or why people resonate with it, but I guess I would postulate that people can't focus on anything. So having more stuff for the
silence
ADD
is
brain,
no good. Yeah, silence is no good.
Like that has kind of shaped it a little bit. Like I wouldn't necessarily put a music track behind our conversations, but that's also part of the expectation of the audience, maybe. I want people to just go do whatever they want and be creative. But if you want to have other people share in that work, then you have to follow some sort of like established pattern, or you're going to spend a lot of time educating people on your new method, which if that's what you want to do, or if you think you have a better way, then great. But most of the time you don't need to reinvent the wheel, right? We talk about this all the time. With startup stuff is like, you can get clever and you can get really creative, but a lot of times you don't really need to, or you shouldn't. And the creativity should be focused on differentiation. Like what makes you the best artist? What makes you the best YouTuber? What makes you the best musician? Not, I have a guitar, come listen to me. Cool. A lot of people have guitars. What style of music do you play? Do the lyrics resonate with me? Does your musical style on jazz or whatever different than what I'm used to hearing? Or is it better and more refined in style than, someone else? Same with content. I don't know how to answer the question. I don't think I've intentionally tried to change stuff. Like we have talked about less time recording.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Probably benefits everyone.
I know, right? Yeah.
We end up talking for hours, and if people want shorter videos, that works.
Yeah. But I mean, we've talked about that before too. Even like it's hard to listen to people talk for an hour period, and we talk about a lot of different things, and I don't intend to change that. But at the same time, it's like the problem of like if we had an established audience of millions of people, then it would be obvious. Of course, that's what people want. But then they know us. They've spent hours listening to us talk. They kind of know what they're in for. They know how to use chapters. Like the reason I put chapters on everything is so you can skip around. Like I've said before, I don't expect anyone to listen to 100% of what we say. Like I don't listen to podcasts that way either. Some people I'm sure, are start to finish, but it's like books. Like if it's a well-studied subject that I'm very familiar with, I'll tend to skip around. I do like to read the book as written because the author theoretically intentionally put it all together that way.
Agreed.
But the books that are more linear focused, I'll skip around. Music, though, I'm very album focused.
That's interesting.
I don't really do TV, but if I do TV, I have no problem turning off like a bad episode of something and going to the next one.
Oh, no, I think you mentioned that before. I always thought that was kind of weird. I don't know why.
But yeah, so, and that's why I put the chapters in. What do you think? Have we changed?
I don't think so. But I asked that question because like this idea of creativity versus manufacturing the content for like to game the system, so to speak, right? I can imagine some people may actually enjoy that process of like I think you're trying to understand how YouTube works and just being that kind of curious person. That's like the fun of it. You're like, well, okay, if I do this, what does it do if I do that? And get more views on this by changing the content or by I can imagine something was similar, like Mr. Beast said, when he was like, okay, let me figure out the thumbnail thing, right? So he may have just enjoyed that process. So I guess I'm trying to highlight that there's no real, it's difficult to say whether manufacturing content strictly is bad, because if you enjoy the process of doing it or you're trying to learn something in that experience, then can you really say it's a bad thing?
Well, that's an interesting way to put it. And I think it is a learning experience. Like, I think it'd be very different if I was set on being a content creator and like being a job, and I'm not going to eat tomorrow if the YouTube check doesn't come in. I think we talked about this too, but anyone trying to get a job in like any sort of entertainment, and I would consider this entertainment, probably don't.
Yeah.
If you're really into it, really want to try, good, but you have to acknowledge the fact that like 99% of people or 99 point something percent of people are not going to be successful. That's just how it is, folks. Sorry, I don't make the rules. If your expectations are to just gather an audience, like part of this was like an experiment. Like, are people going to be interested? And I've said it before too. Like, I would do this regardless if it had an audience, but I would do it very differently if there was no one listening.
Fair.
Right. I'd spend a lot less time editing. I would just probably throw this stuff up. And I mean, I don't really spend a ton of time editing, but the editing really comes down to like the shorts and then the clips. It takes some time to do that and polish it and make it look halfway decent. But yeah, I think if you're okay with a small audience or not growing or not discovered, or you're putting out content for a small group of people, then yeah, I mean, go for it. I'd say it's pretty easy to get dozens of people in the world to pay attention. Hundreds or thousands is harder, and especially over long term. One hit wondering or getting
like
lucky
retained, yeah,
is definitely possible. So yeah, I would say like be creative, but don't try to be a creator in the sense of like a content creator. If you want to create content, put it out there. The art form is not giving up if people are watching or listening.
Interesting. Is that a requirement?
I think so.
Okay.
Right? Because like if you want to be an artist, it's the age-old question of if nobody's watching, is it
right? Exactly. I was going to bring it there. I was going to say
it?
that. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, in some weird sense, you could argue that the reason some people do create art is for others to experience whatever.
Well, I think that's interesting, because I would disagree with that. I think most people create art for some sort of expression, and then they get joy if other people are receptive. But if your intention is to have your art consumed, I would say that's more manufacturing. And that's, okay. I don't think there's anything necessarily wrong with that, as long as everyone's like a willing participant in what's going on. But I think when it really does come to art, though, art is very much, I think, for expression's sake. And a lot of like really famous artists didn't get famous until after they died, or super old, right? They were doing it for so long, and then either they got discovered or they honed their craft over 20 years, and then they finally got recognized. Like, I always joke with people, a lot of art in museums is like really bad art by famous people.
I was going to say, surely there are many great artists that you've never heard of or ever seen the art of, right?
Yeah, same with music. Some people that I know, like, they play music, they're cool if 20 people show up to their show. They're not, they don't want millions and millions of people, but if they have 20 super engaged people listening to their music or reacting, that's like all they want in life. And that's okay. But I think this idea, this social media too, it's so toxic, and then it's convinced everybody that all you need to do is these few things, and then you'll have millions of fans on YouTube, and you get paid millions of dollars. And it's like every platform breakdown I see, like YouTube said that they have millions of creators that are paid, which sounds like a lot until you realize there's like 8 or 9 billion people on the planet. And they like, I think the audience size for YouTube's like 2.5 billion. So out of 2.5 billion, only a few million people are actually making money.
Right.
Period.
And they don't.
Getting paid was what the CEO said.
Right.
That
Right.
is
I was going to say, they don't tell you how,
living.
I was going to say, they don't tell you how much.
Right. And I mean, the general, and the revenue thing is really hard to talk about and predict, but the general revenue on this stuff is like thousands of views for cents.
Mm-hmm.
So I think people just need to be realistic with themselves. And again, if you're motivated, just do your thing and record it and put it out there for the world. Great. If you're trying to actually grow and become a creator, I think you're going to find very quickly that it's not going to make you happy, and it's going to probably impact you more negatively. Because very few people are going to be successful, even if you have the greatest, coolest thing ever. And even fewer people are going to be able to grow that to millions or billions of views.
Yeah.
So.
I'm reminded of something I think we mentioned maybe a few weeks ago, but like intentionality. Yeah. Like if you're trying to become a creator with the intention of making millions or getting millions of followers, probably not the best place to start. But if you're doing it with the intention of enjoying yourself and being a creator that you want to be, then it might be worth a shot. Or just give it a try, or whatever we said last time.
Right. I think that was just try.
Just give it a try.
I think that clip releases in like a half hour.
Okay, cool.
But I would also say conversely, like you're not putting 110% in, you're not going to make it, period. So don't try. If you really think you want to be a creator, a creative or whatever, and like make it big, then you got to be putting 110% in. And I think, like I said last time, that's probably not working at Starbucks. That's like, go get a job as a YouTube editor and figure out how to edit and get someone to pay you so you can learn the craft of making a good video. Because like viewing a good video and like dissecting it and understanding what happens and then actually making that, or being able to produce content in a way that you can turn around and edit in a day versus weeks, is a skill.
Yeah.
Everybody who records enough footage could find something interesting, cut it up, splice it, but that takes time and energy, right? So if you actually want to make that reproducible, and then also you probably want to be doing things that are different than everyone else. You have to have a format that resonates with people, that they know what they're going to kind of expect and get, but then you have to have something interesting and unique about it. Otherwise no one's going to watch either.
Right. Okay. Interesting. I was going to say, are we able to summarize the key points? This is like, if you're trying to start on your journey, do it only if your heart's in it, like only if you really, really want to.
Yeah, I guess we'll turn
to
this
create
into
for the sake of creating. Yeah,
we'll turn this into a creator cast then. So, don't try.
First of all, don't. But if you do,
don't try. But if you're going to ignore that, then put 110% of your energy into
find a niche.
Right. If you're into music or video, or if you have some hobby or some other thing that you want to record, that's a big segment of YouTube, is people doing stuff and then recording them doing it. Mm-hmm. If you're going to do that method, I would say find someone who's good at video production and can film you and edit or learn. But if you should be really 110% focused on that thing and not the noise of all the other stuff. There's very few people who can do it all very well. There's very few people who can execute on it, period. If you're going to just be a creator and do random and record it and, whatever, it's funny, I don't really watch that much YouTube, so I don't really know what YouTube is like, which is maybe why the content doesn't do millions of views per day. We do 5-digit views. I'm proud of that, but it's I don't know. Yeah. But I know, right? Yeah, no, we're in the weekly viewer plus listenership of healthy 4 digits.
Nice.
Most of the time. And sometimes the content bombs. That's just the nature of it. But yeah, so if you want to do the creator thing, great. Then, figure out how to do it. Figure out how to edit. Figure out how to record. Like, you got to be doing it, but then go probably work for someone. Or work in an industry that go work in a film industry and figure out how editing and production and post-production and lighting. And you can watch videos and you can experiment. The growth hack is to actually do the thing professionally.
Yeah. When we talk about content, I at times in the back of my head think parallels with entrepreneurship too. Like, I think you could take those same exact rules and apply it to entrepreneurship. Number one, don't.
Yeah. Right.
But then number two is like, put 110% in, find a niche. If you're not sure if you'd like it, work at a startup, see what the environment's like.
I would take it a step back. So like for entrepreneurship in a non-creative space, I would say find a problem.
Yeah. Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Solve a problem if it's something other people have. And then you have to do validation. So once you've solved the problem, is it a big enough problem that a lot of people have? Is that your market? And then are people willing to pay for that problem? Is it a problem that is worth people, exchanging money for time?
Right. Yeah. I guess that's the find a niche variation in the entrepreneurship rather than find a niche.
Yeah. And then I would say, absolutely, join a startup or a small company where you can learn from other people and learn what not to do. The ethos of the 18-year-old in the college dorm room creating a multi-billion-dollar company is basically fake. All those people were super wealthy to begin with or had upper middle class upbringings and could afford to fail.
Yeah.
So if you're in that position, cool, I guess, go maybe try that. But most people are not. And most people, like, if you don't make money, you can't survive. The average age of like a startup founder is like 45 or something like that. It's most people who have been in an industry or industries.
Long enough to have some expertise.
Long enough to not make, because you want someone to pay you to learn and make all the mistakes. You don't want to have to pay yourself to make all those mistakes.
Right.
You do have to do the work.
Yeah.
Don't confuse that. But if you want to start a company, try to get a job and do it on the side, especially if you're young. You can do that. You have the energy, work your weekend, don't go out and party. You'll make some progress and get some validation. Get your problem solved as fast as you can and in front of other people that are not your friends and family, that strangers, to get some validation if it's working, and then get some money from them. You have to figure out how to get money from them too. You can't just ask people for money. I mean, that's part of it, but most people aren't going to just give you money.
Right.
Sales is a big, Austin and I talked about that. He's on the phone all day long with people trying to get himself in front of people to buy the product. That's a big part. If you want to be a company, that's a big part of it. If you want a hobby business, still have to sell, but it's a little different problem.
Yeah.
Try to solve a problem for someone and scale it.
I didn't mean to take it to the business sense. It was just one of the things that I keep thinking about it.
There's a huge parallel between the two for sure. And that's why I started the podcast and why I like doing the tech bent, because one, that's what I know really well, and you obviously do too. But two, creativity and the creative process underpin excellence in any field.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. I think also in technology, people tend to think that there is no creativity in technology. I don't know if that's true or not.
A lot of it isn't, though. It's people barking orders or dictating what to do. And you can make money in that, but you're not going to revolutionize anything that way.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to try to keep it to a half hour. You have any other questions that'll take us on a tangent?
No. I think we ended here because it was nice, nicely wrapped. This creative journey, going back to some of the things we visited and talked about before. But yes.
And we didn't mention the 2-letter word.
Which not yet. We still have a few minutes now.
I know, right? No, that reminds me. I did want to complain about the thing I was talking to you about earlier.
Which thing? You complain a lot. I'm joking.
The he who shall not be named.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you did. I mean, your call. We can do that. I don't know if you want to, if next time would time-wise. Yeah. All right. It will probably, you might have more to say next time. I think that'll be.
I think I've already said it, to be honest, but I feel like I can't say it enough. Maybe a teaser. OpenAI has a Nazi problem.
What a teaser.
I know, right?
Check out our video on YouTube. OpenAI Sora 2 has a Nazi problem. Fix it now. To hear what's wrong with OpenAI Sora 2 and why the need to fix it now.
Find us at 38.com. It's like the word create, but with a 3 instead of a C. As always, we encourage you to listen, watch, do. We'll see you next time. You can support this podcast at patreon.com/38 or at ko-fi.com/38. Thanks for listening.